Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another Bizom University webinar. We'll just wait for a few minutes for more people to join. Welcome to everyone who has joined like now. This is the first session of Bizom's Retail Intelligence Masterclass, where we talk with industry experts to understand the opportunities in supply chain automation. In this episode, we'll be talking to Raghu Ravinutala, who's the founder of Yellow Messenger, a messaging commerce platform that helps enterprises drive revenue growth by leveraging artificial intelligence. Our moderator for this evening is Lalit Bhise, the founder of Bizom, the retail intelligence platform that is building route to market efficiency for FMCG brands. For anybody who has questions, we'll be taking up a Q&A sessions in the last 15 minutes of the webinar. If anyone wants to ask the questions, please use the tab that is on the right side of the screen. Raghu and Lalit will be taking the time to answer the questions. Raghu and Lalit, we can begin now. Lalit, over to you.
Thanks, Ritubana. Hi, Raghu. Good afternoon.
Hey, Lalit. Good afternoon.
Right. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining in. Raghu and I have known each other like I think for years. So we will possibly talk like friends. Though we have been I think associated or partnered in business for I think 1.5 years now. So lovely to catch up with you again, Raghu. So I mean, before we get into a little bit detail about the route to market and other complicated stuff, why don't you, Raghu, tell our audience a little bit about Yellow Messenger, about yourself, about Yellow Messenger, and how Yellow Messenger is already kind of driving CPG businesses forward.
Yeah. Hey, Lalit. Great to be with you here, and yeah, it's been a quite a long friendship and great partnering over last 1 year. So, firstly, I'll talk about the company, what we do. Um, just like most of the people around here across the world over the last 10 years, messaging and real-time communication has taken over a significant part of how we interact with internet devices, both at consumer side, be it WhatsApp, or at the enterprise side like a Slack or Microsoft Teams. And with this change, enterprises anywhere in the world need to market their products and services, enable commerce, provide customer support, engage with employees and suppliers on these messaging platforms. So Yellow Messenger provides the platform to enable enterprises to provide great customer experiences on messaging and voice using artificial intelligence and humans collaborating with each other. Uh, while our customer base is across multiple segments of verticals or customers, we have especially seen a lot of success working with CPG customers over the last last 2 years. And we especially have seen use cases where a lot of CPG companies were able to one drive direct to consumer engagement, enabling commerce, enabling marketing, providing customer support. But we also saw a lot of use cases around the CPG companies engaging with their retailer and dealer network and making it absolutely easy for them to place orders, get customer support, and essentially drive a lots of efficiency. And to drive this impact to these customers, we partnered with Mobisi, which has the entire intelligence layer for the retailers and route to market, and the ability to provide the backend for end customers to place orders with these retailers. So our platform sits on top of Mobisi to enable great experiences for dealers and end customers of CPG companies.
No, that's quite cool. I mean, and good that you transitioned already onto the next one I was going to ask you. So, by the way, for audience, if you have any questions in between, there is a on the right hand side bottom there is a tab called questions. Please feel free to put your questions there, and we will take it up afterwards. So coming to the whole Bizom association, look for Bizom, at least from Bizom's point of view, I understand. So why Yellow Messenger was the right partner to figure out. Why why do you think what value you think for Yellow Messenger, the whole partnerships like Bizom or specific to CPG, what value you think they add to Yellow Messenger overall?
Yeah. So at Yellow Messenger, we are not domain experts in CPG industry specifically. We as a company, I think we are experts in enabling great conversations on messaging and voice platforms. What I think Mobisi brought to the table is almost 6, 7, or maybe more years of experience working with CPG companies and embedding that in the Mobisi software that enables great functionality for CPG companies. I think what the association brought to the table is that bring that functionality and expertise in a manner that is so easy for end users to use just on a WhatsApp, or be it on a chat on the website or mobile app, and in some cases even voice-based telephony, essentially driving much higher levels of automation for the end customer. Second, driving high digital adoption for both the end retailer and the CPG company in enabling the entire chain from CPG to the retailer to the end customer. So, as a company, for us to provide the most intelligent and most delightful experience for dealers and consumers, we always need to partner with companies who have core embedded system of records for the functionality of these CPGs, dealers, and end consumers. And Yellow Messenger sits on top of them and brings out that functionality on a easy to use multilingual conversations. So that's the value that we see, Lalit. And going forward, I think we can go much deeper, enabling much deeper functionality and rich functionality to our end customers together.
No, absolutely cool. And if I remember correctly, Raghu, we formalized our partnership sometime in May last year, which was like a uh, high time of COVID, and industry was still figuring out how to respond to that particular a black swan kind of an event. Can you tell us a little bit about, from your perspective, what are the use cases that you saw on a consumer side or on a dealer side, especially in this whole FMCG? I mean, a lot of these FMCG customers actually come in essential services category, and some of them were feeling some of the stress. Even the consumers themselves were feeling some of the stress, especially during last year with lockdowns and everything else. What use cases did you see, or are you seeing, that kind of helped you make that or get that into this decision with partnership with Bizom quite quicker, or even take this partnership more strategically and more seriously forward?
Fantastic. That's a great question. So I think a lot of use cases existed irrespective of COVID, but I think significantly what COVID brought to the fore was the challenge that suddenly the entire physical retailing got disrupted, right? Because there was no shops that were distributing, but the end user demand remained the same. People were still using the CPG products. They need to live their days. And now the challenge is for the brands to get their products in the hands of these customers with a sudden change in that entire distribution network. And that primarily drove a lot of these companies to directly engage with the customers, but use the existing dealer or retailer network not through their physical locations, but even if by delivery or by hyper local delivery to get these products to the end customers. So that is the use case that prominently came up during COVID. And there are two choices now in front of these CPG brands. Is one, oh, you know what, we are going to design a completely new application and we'll get those million downloads. And so all this are plans. I think typically they don't come to fore, right? Even in normal times, getting million downloads is a lot of cost. But what's the application that's on everybody's phone? It's WhatsApp. And it became a clear choice that you know what, I mean, I can use something that's on top of everybody's phone, and I can now starting engaging with these customers, enable them to place orders, and I can leverage my existing distribution network to actually service and fulfill them. And I think that is the use case that appeared clearly in front of companies like Spencer Retail, Adani, and then over the last year, I think we had about 100 plus FMCG commerce customers, enabling this chain to engage and enable to satisfy the demand of the end customers. The second largest use case that I saw was the dealer network essentially always relied on. If you take a PepsiCo or if you take any other FMCG brand, the end retailers actually place their orders on phone. They follow up orders on their phone. At some point of time, the elasticity of the call center that is processing these orders is the limiting factor on efficiently servicing these end retailers and potentially fulfilling 100% of the demand, because they might lose these some of these orders in them waiting on the call center, in the call center timings, etc. So what we have seen is companies like PepsiCo, they have enabled the end-to-end ordering of the merchandise from the dealers to the CPG companies on WhatsApp and in a format that is multilingual. So somebody could order in a Gujarati, Marathi, etc., and they don't need to use learn a different application, download an application. They can just message on WhatsApp. इतने सारे Coke bottles चाहिए, इतने सारे sorry, इतने सारे Pepsi bottles चाहिए. What is the status of the order? All that stuff. And without needing the human agent out there, these orders can directly go back into the core systems and make this delivery and fulfillment happen. We are not a platform that enables this entire fulfillment. And I think this enabled us to partner with Mobisi to enable this fulfillment so that these automated conversations that are engaging with end customers or not just automated conversations and we are raising a ticket and somebody goes on and delivers the order, to enable end-to-end automation of this entire process of placing orders here and from the back-end systems delivering back to the end customers. We see the partnership as a fulfillment integration for fulfillment and fulfillment in an automated manner, fulfillment that comes that does not depend on the elasticity of the human resources that are available at these CPG companies. So all in all, these are not completely new scenarios that are COVID has brought together, but I think these are scenarios that companies can learn during this period where they are forced to use this. But these are optimal scenarios even in non-COVID times as well. So we are seeing a fundamental shift happening there, and in a sense, companies can get these two three benefits, right? First time ever, they are able to get the data engagement from directly end consumers. They're not letting go of their dealers or retailers. They're still depending on them and the existing distribution network intact, but they get direct data about their end consumer data. Third, all this efficiency and improvement in demand is being provided with reduction in the number of human resources. So that means that much more efficiency. So this makes this partnership and this integration, I think, a compelling proposition for every CPG out there.
Right, right. Awesome, awesome. Then I appreciate that detailed overview of the how the solution work. One of the things that stuck with me when you're talking about like this WhatsApp, right? So this is like a holy grail, if I understand, from a CPG point of view. Especially last year, from at least what, and we were talking about it backstage as well. Last year, there is a lot of this, you know, conversations about this buzzword called D2C. Every brand which has been a brick and mortar kind of a brand throughout their life now suddenly during COVID decides to become D2C. You touched upon it when you were answering, how difficult it is to get downloads and hence, using your existing channels and existing technologies. Can you elaborate a little bit in terms of just give us a sense of realism in terms of how when we are talking about this conversational AI or conversational commerce enabled, let's say powered by a WhatsApp, and imagine on the other hand, let's say I am a large beverage brand or I'm a large commodity brand. How can you paint us a picture in terms of how this order will flow from or rather how this whole supply chain flows, and which part of it, like kind of yellow messenger, powers through the conversational AI, and which part do you think Bizom kind of does pretty well with their existing technologies and partners?
Yeah. So two workflows. One is customer or dealer driven workflow. The second is CPG driven workflow. All right. So the first workflow is about dealer or retailer figuring out that I need to have this much inventory for the next 1 week, and he might just remember that at 7 p.m. in the evening when the call center is closed, and typically you don't get that order. But he goes onto WhatsApp, checks out a CPG brand official WhatsApp account, and says, "Send me this many packets of my biscuits, this many packets of my flour, etc." And from the backend system, which is powered by Mobisi, which essentially consists of all this inventory, automatically picks up the available inventories and SKUs and guides the user through this conversation in helping them place the order, right? And as soon as the order is placed, this kind of goes directly back into the order management part, and the order is triggered. The phone number is already verified because the dealer is already messaging from a WhatsApp account. So it's the verification is already done. It matches with and authenticates in the backend, and it's triggered back to the delivery R2C channel, and that entire R2C channel makes sure which uses Mobisi for managing this entire route, gets the delivery done to the end customer. The second use case this is as a consumer, I want to order some bakery items. I'll just order some things on my WhatsApp, and this order goes to the customer management system, the CRM of the company. And now the CRM figures out from my mobile number and my location which is the nearest retailer that I need to I need help to fulfill this order. And the inventory etc. is now provided by the CPG company to that dealer to enable this order. So the value proposition of the CPG company to that end retailer, which earlier was just providing the inventory, now they are providing orders as well, right? And they are using their brand presence, which I think for individual retailer very tough to get the WhatsApp audience to actually generate more orders for the end retailer. The third is interestingly, I think which is a significant use case that we are seeing, which I think companies can leverage a lot, is proactive engagement. So these are orders when customer or retailer needs and places an order, but a lot of times the need it needs to be conveyed proactively to both of them. Let's say there is a fantastic offer that is running on a merchandise item, and it is relevant to a festival that's coming up in the next 2 3 days. There is a message on WhatsApp that's sent to the retailer, sent to this, saying that hey, we see that this festival is coming up. Mahashivratri, you would expect more orders from customers around this. You want to kind of order it upfront so that you get a discount. He said just yes, and the order is placed. It goes back into the system and stuff. So not only now the CPG company is enabling them more orders, but also intelligence, but intelligence provided through WhatsApp channel. This intelligence is very tough for retailers to manage them. A brand has much more data to accumulate this intelligence, but this intelligence is being used in a very simple manner to actually communicate and generate demand and generate the supply through the entire ecosystem. So these are very compelling use cases, and I think these are uniquely enabled by WhatsApp as a channel.
Awesome. And I think it's uniquely enabled also by Yellow Messenger and Bizom working together in some way or other. Otherwise, independently, we wouldn't be able to leverage on the whole conversational part, and we wouldn't be able to power the other part of supply chain as well. So let me then bring it up a little bit to the year, right? So initially, when we started working together, there was a lot of excitement. People talking D2C, conversational. AI was a buzzword. I mean, you know that this year, digital has been like a flavor of the year, so to say. Uh, Now, but in terms of reality, over last year and a half, can you share with us some of the actual business cases, some of the things that you could do together with Bizom, some success stories around it, or even failure stories that you can think about? Can you throw some light on how the last year has been overall in this whole working together for you?
Yeah, overall, I think the partnership got strengthened with the tailwinds that we were seeing in the market. And if there is any investment that the companies were making investments in areas that can keep their customers, partners happy and keep satisfying their demands, right? And as we discussed in the earlier part, I think WhatsApp, Yellow Messenger, and Bizom has this unique capability to provide value to the entire cycle and impact both the top line and bottom line. This enabled us to work with some of the largest oils and supply companies in India to actually enable, for the first time ever, their direct to consumer engagement fulfilled by the retailers. So much so that the demand that they saw actually made that enable them to make this D2C channel with hyperlocal as one of the prominent channels that they want to invest in the coming years, and potentially reduce the dependency on third-party distribution or ordering platforms, right? So in effect, providing the same level or much a deeper level of experience than the aggregators that are aggregating groceries or grocery commerce companies. We also saw success in large retailers, which have bottling plants, etc., in enabling an experience for end dealers to provide a phenomenal experience for them to order, get support any time of the day, in any language, and in a simple and easy manner. But while the success over last year has been fantastic, I can't think about what the coming years are going to bring, because this is not just stalling. Companies are realizing the advantage and leverage that they can get with WhatsApp as a medium, and Yellow Messenger and Mobisi integration with that, delivering this value. So I expect this to be a prominent trend in the coming years.
No, no, absolutely. No, and a very interesting use case, that you mentioned some time back was the third use case where you said, this kind of engagement or consumer engagement on WhatsApp also allows brands to kind of proactively inform consumers about possibly upcoming needs. I
Yeah.
mean, right now we are in the peak of, or rather, getting towards a peak of summer. So, for example, there are companies in our ecosystem like an ice cream companies or beverage companies. Uh, so can you tell us some of the stories around, how do you, how as a beverage brand, let's say I want to reach out to consumer during summer with, let's say, a new product that I'm launching, and I want to inform them about availability in their nearby ecosystem or even enable home delivery for them. Uh, and why is, from consumer point of view, it's better to do it via WhatsApp versus, let's say, doing it like a big basket or whichever else that they end up doing.
Yeah, so one clear thing is, I think I'll come back to the same thing. There are very few companies who have their apps downloaded, but okay, you go through the hoop, get the app downloaded. Very few companies have retention rates that enable customers to keep their specific app over like multiple years, multiple quarters, right? And third, the notifications get missed in the plethora of notifications that keep coming with every single application out there, right? And it's proven that the read rates on WhatsApp and the way that they have managed the ecosystem in a way where the spam is very little, and the value of each message is significant. The read rates and the response rate for these outbound notifications is much higher, and upwards of 90% in terms of read rates, and upwards of 50% in terms of response rates. Second is consumers don't want to move across multiple different things. So the typical notifications that you get on your SMS, that, oh, this order, there is a link somewhere you have to go, it has loaded, and there you need to figure out how you get that product, right? The advantage about WhatsApp based outreach is it is conversational. So let's say I just send a message that, hey, it's like a really hot summer, this is the ice cream, this you want to order this, I decide I want to go with, I just say yes, that's it. Your address is there, it goes to the nearby retailer who's supplying, and you get the order in 15-20 minutes, and you pay them directly, right? Or you can enable payment within the WhatsApp link. So that kind of experience where within the WhatsApp conversation, you're not only just providing an update on what offer is available, but you're enabling transactions, you're enabling commerce, and we actually call it call this is micro commerce. So you're not kind of putting all the store information in front of the user and asking them to react, but you're taking those micro moments of commerce, communicating to the customer, and enabling them to transact in that micro moment, right? And that enables significant amount of incremental commerce on top of your existing digital commerce that you have for your company. And then again, this is uniquely possible only through WhatsApp with platforms such as Yellow Messenger and Modisi integrated.
Awesome, awesome. So you talked about like micro commerce. We call it like D2R2C in a sense. Direct to retail to reach to consumer. You can't reach to consumer directly from a consumer brand point of view. Very very interesting. Let me just switch your gear a little bit ahead before we come to question and answers, Raghu. So fine. I mean, we saw some tailwinds together. We decided to you decided to partner with Bizom. Saw some value out of it. Helped some large brands. Got them some phenomenal value in terms of getting that D2R2C done. Going forward, how do you see, especially from a consumer or a FMCG point of view, how do you see this whole conversational AI thing evolving, right? And how do let's just put it forward, let's say 1 year or 3 year or 5 year. Can you paint us a picture in terms of how do you see this whole conversational part of AI? I mean, it stops being just a buzzword, so to say, but actually in reality, almost everybody using it on day-to-day life. How do you see that happening going forward?
Yeah, so one significant improvement that I think we are seeing is as more and more interactions are happening through conversations. This is the first time ever in the history of any of these companies they have digital data about these conversations in their system. To give an example, I always take this example. I think we had a cocktail conversation assistant for Diageo, and they came back saying that the first time ever they knew that South Indians like spicy cocktails and North Indian like sweet cocktails, right? So the amount of data around commerce, customer support, and marketing that companies can get in a digital format. This is the first time ever they would be getting those data, and that data can be used in multiple ways. One, of course, in product development is much better, your marketing is much better, but most importantly in your digital campaigns, let's say your Facebook advertising, Google advertising, or any other marketing campaign could be much more targeted because you know about the users a lot more. And we see that the power of these conversations to provide to enrich the depth of consumer data that enterprises have. The second one we see is there has been evolution in automated conversations right from 2016. What started off was answering basic question and answers in one step. Now they have expanded to long multi-step conversations and enabling transactions as much that in the last quarter we saw about 70% of the conversations on our platform resulted in a transaction. We believe the next phase is moving from just Q&A to transactions to more influencing conversations. What I mean is the ability of the AI to actually enable a sale, to do a negotiation, to cajole a customer. So I think we see the extension to much more deeper cognitive elements, which again build upon all this data and provide much more personalized way and much more consistent way of engaging with customers, driving up sales, providing efficiency, and all those statistics. What we also see is that voice is predominantly expanding. So a lot of these interactions on WhatsApp are providing great benefit, but still right now, voice is a pretty large component of the company's interaction with their end customers. And right now, what we are seeing is automated voice for one of our customers has been able to get more conversions from end customer from a collections point of view than a human dialing to those users. So we see that voice starting to play predominant part in conversational AI, and for CPG companies to interact with their end users, that can be done at scale. Earlier, I think they need to have these agents calling and getting feedback on their products. Now they can use voice and messaging to do all this. As a partnership, our vision is that by the integration and the deep data that we have from a conversations perspective and transactions perspective as a system of record, I think the ability to offer enterprises the intelligence to improve their sales, improve their conversions, and improve their NPS from their dealers is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, I've actually used that cocktail bot, and I know I have a lot of fond memories about it. From what I understood, then what you're saying is, look, today I can ask a bot how to make a cocktail. Tomorrow, the bot itself will start telling me what is the cocktail that I should be preparing for or making today, and maybe I can just tell my phone that it's too hot today, and then the phone automatically tells me the right cocktail to make in life. Did I get that correct, or what do
Absolutely,
you?
absolutely.
No, very, very cool. I kind of agree. So, okay, tell me this whole conversational commerce, let's say with respect to, when interestingly, you talked about voice as well. So, with respect to all this Alexa or Google Home and stuff like that, where do you see this whole Yellow Messenger, Bizom, and the specific technologies that we are looking at? Do they replace some of them, or do they kind of augment them? I mean, in the conversational area, for example, you guys have clearly taken a position where you augmenting WhatsApp or you're augmenting Facebook chat. In the case of voice chat, how do you see yourself? Are you going to be partnering with telcos to get voice commands, or how are you planning to do that?
The number one place where voice interactions with enterprises are happening is on telephony. There are 383 billion calls that are made every single year from consumers to enterprises. And every single call out there is an opportunity for automation to enhance the experience and efficiency. And we see that we play in that segment, that area, as the primary goal. While we support Alexa, Google Assistant, we're not yet seen Alexa and Google Assistant gain as much traction as the number of interactions happen on telephony. Right now, we already are partners with most of the telecom providers across the world, and we can enable telephone numbers with automation and agent interface readily available. In fact, I can take an example of Madhya Pradesh Electricity, it's not a CPG company, but they are driving about 70% of their customer support queries on telephony completely end-to-end automated. There are companies that are driving collections, right? And for a CPG company, this could be a way of reaching out to their dealers from both presenting their order statuses, getting additional orders, getting feedback, making a phone call that is 100% automated, and getting the details, getting the feedback, taking orders, and these can kind of open up unprecedented amount of personalization and conversations with end customers, because there was never a time when you could have enough agents to call every single one of your dealers customers to interact with them and provide the services required. So we see we are augmenting or sitting on top of the existing telecom lines, telecom providers, and contact centers to enable voice automation.
No, that's
That's your
phenomenal.
question, Lalit?
Yeah, yeah, you did. I mean, and I kind of agree with you that voice and telephony, especially in the markets that we operate in, like our emerging markets, which depend a lot on mom and pop kind of a channel, voice or telephony
Yeah.
is the
By the
possible
way,
most.
even across the world, even in developed countries, voice on telephony is the number one.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you talked about like some of the use cases like collections and stuff like that, which I absolutely resonate with me. I mean, we work with like 100,000 odd distributors, and the distributors them. I mean, I know the pain they go through, struggling for collection reminders and stuff like that. I
Amazing. So we
completely
have one more use case to integrate with.
absolutely. There's one more use case we should integrate into. Yeah. So that's very fairly resonating. Tell me a little bit about like markets which are similar to India. I mean, a lot of Indian companies, but most of the MNCs in the CPG companies work not only with India but also work across world. Can you tell us a little bit about this D2R2C that we talked about, a retailer or consumer kind of an ecosystem? How do you see that shaping up in geographies, let's say like Southeast Asia or Africa or Middle East?
No, I think they are shaping up phenomenally well. I think the demand and adoption is even higher in some markets like Indonesia. Just to take a few examples, so we have customers like Sephora, who are, I mean, these are completely typical offline brands with offline experience. What they enabled is, and again driven by COVID, right, for end consumers to interact on Sephora products on WhatsApp, and they have these beauty assistants that help consumer choose products. Like you go to their shop, they suggest some perfumes, etc., and they are able to seamlessly connect to the conversation and enable selling and enable just great experience, right? So answer people questions on products, etc. So a combination of automation and human-led conversation driving great customer experience and higher sales in these markets. And we are seeing this across Indonesia. We are seeing across Malaysia. We're seeing Singapore. We're seeing even in the US market. Yeah, so we have Sephora in the US as our customer, and we are working with multiple retail brands out there, including PepsiCo, to enable a similar concept that I think we have seen in India. So it's I don't relate this as a India only phenomena. It's a global phenomena. The channels could differ. So India, it's WhatsApp. Indonesia, it's WhatsApp. Brazil, it's WhatsApp. But iMessage is very popular in the US. So now Apple has opened up their interface for conversations to be driven on iMessage, and Google Business Messenger has now opened up its interface where you can search for a brand, and instead of having a telephone number listed, you could have a messaging button that's listed on Google, and that entire experience could be automated out there. So the mediums differ in multiple markets, but I think the recipe on a whole remains the same.
Awesome, awesome. No, appreciate that insight, Raghu. That was awesome. I think we are about done with our time. Before we go to question and answers, do you have any specific closing remarks with respect to overall route to market, Bizom, Yellow Messenger, and so on and so forth to add?
No, I think the only comment is I'm super excited, and I think we should talk more and I think get deeper in our integrations and our overall solution to the end customers.
Yep, and this is a Olympics year, so CTS, RTS, 4TS, right? So just to go together ahead in general. No,
Yes.
thank you so much for this. Let me just take some of the questions that have come, and then we can kind of close this webinar. The first question is from Michelle, which is how will sales organizations of CPG industries evolve with evolution of voice-powered AI tech? I mean, she's talking. You talked a little bit about dealer part, but how do the sales organizations are eventually evolving? I mean, one of the key part of CPG organization is the sales team. How are they how do you see them evolving with voice tech in general?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think the sales team of the CPG companies, I would say, their uh, their 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 challenges are about reaching and keeping in communication with the retailers that they are essentially selling to, and providing them the right information and right offers at the right time, right? And a lot of time these sales representatives depend on the centralized function for support, right? And a voice-based automation, and then of course the center is limited, the knowledge there is limited, it's not controlled, and there is no data about how those interactions are impacting the sales. uh, where I see a large impact out there is a telephony-based assistant that is both reactive and proactive, which essentially is providing on-call information about, hey, you need to focus on this retailer at this particular point of time because that area is seeing a demand. This is the products potentially you can sell to this retailer because these are the ones that are in demand and they have great offers running. And it's also reactive that as a salesperson, I can kind of treat the voice assistant as a mentor, that I'm going for a sale. I say I'm going to sell to this retailer in Indira Nagar. And are there any? Do you want me to talk to about any particular product that you think is running right now? And you get that assistant in 5 minutes, and you're going prepared for that sale, right? And you want to kind of once he promises the sale, you want to keep following up. Following up is a big part of any sales process, right? So you, as a human, you can only follow up so many times and so many retailers, and you could run voice sequences that follow up for the sales orders, etc. So it just amplifies the sales personnel's capacity, or sales personnel sales capacity, right? So if they are doing 1x, they could potentially do 10x by using automation and voice AI. So very excited about what this can do.
Absolutely.
Lalit can have,
And
he's a bigger expert in this entire retail process, but this is what I've seen in general as a.
no, no, that's fair. And that's cool. And the fact that the sales guys and the distributors and the retailers have a Bizom app in their phones, they can even talk to the Bizom app instead of calling a number, and that the intelligence comes from the messenger spot in general. Fair enough. Very interesting. This Rituparna, you want to take the question and answer?
Sure, I'll do that. So the next question is from Akshay. So he has asked that given the complexity of the CPG industry environment, does it make sense to use NLP over decision tree based bots? I think the question is for you, Raghu.
No, absolutely. I think anywhere it has to be NLP. I mean, with decision based, right? I think you can solve one, two use cases, but you not be able to solve problems which are significantly large and complex, especially in retail, right? I mean, you want to place an order. One of the toughest things to solve is domain product names. I kind of call and say I want. SKU, and SKU names are also not on numbers, right? A lot of companies have like really, I mean, unique SKUs, and people place orders, and the NLP has to identify, has to convert, has to provide recommendations. So the decision tree, yeah, bots or interfaces are good pilots. You can see how will this impact, how will people adopt, but I cannot see that those interfaces scaling to provide perennial value.
All right, we have like some more questions. To what extent do you think a conversational AI could replace actual customer manpower? And what are the major challenges that you currently face, especially with reference to the use cases in which were easily solvable by manpower?
So I'll be very open, right? I think we have seen easily about 50 to 60% at the minimum, right? I think 80% of the conversations that happen with a company around customer support are fairly standard, fairly automatable, and provide a better consumer experience. Two reasons. A lot of customer interactions require getting into multiple systems, getting data, aggregating data, and providing a feedback back to the customer. If somebody is asking for a status of an order, I need to open that application, type his customer number, get the order status, and I mean all this is 5 minutes, right? Software is fast. It is an API call within microsecond. It is getting the data back and providing it back to the customers. It's consistent. I mean, if there is a new product that has come in, I need to train all my customer support agents to talk about it. Here, I just go and change the backend that hey, this is the offer that you need to communicate, and the virtual assistant goes and communicates that. So I think we see a significant part being automated, but I think what it opens up is the ability for I think the human agents to drive what they are really good at. What I think the automation is right now not good at is understanding emotions, handling conflict, all those things. I think the human agents would essentially be the ones that are enabling that particular piece. So I feel and that's how we are built as a company. Is our belief is that it's always automation plus human working together, and this coordination working in a native manner provides the best customer experience. Uh, and that's it. So in some cases, there is a larger human element. There is the smaller automation element. In some use cases, there is a larger automation element and smaller human. But you need a combination of these working together to deliver great customer experience.
Thank you, Raghu. So the next question is from Krishna, and he would like to hear on how you believe that Yellow Messenger and Bizom can create transparent supply chains to improve the experiences of all stakeholders across the FMCG RTM ecosystem.
Lalit, you want to take that?
Sure. No, this guy has used a lot of buzzwords. Looks like he's a consultant. So anyway, uh, so the Yellow Messenger Bizom so RTM is a route to market, right? And the whole idea is that a route to market Bizom, while takes it till the edge of that particular supply chain, like a retailer, what something like Yellow Messenger gives us is an ability to take it even one step further, which is directly to the consumer, right? So the gap between retailer and consumer is something we never saw as a way that Bizom itself, as a platform, intelligence platform primarily for supply chain, can reach out. Something like Yellow Messenger actually gives us an ability to reach to that particular untapped, so to say, ecosystem. Allows our brands to even execute some of those D2C initiatives, which are integrated with their existing supply chains instead of building new supply chains. Raghu talked about installing new applications. Forget about installing new applications. To go to D2C, they will have to change the entire supply chain. While what Bizom and Yellow Messenger allows them to do is to build on top of the existing distribution, existing retail, existing sales networks, but still enable a direct-to-consumer kind of experience for their brand consumers, and create a larger or longer-lasting brand loyalty and brand recall within the consumer's mindset in general. Do you want to add something to that, Raghu?
No, I think that's pretty cool, Lalit. I think that's pretty awesome.
Thanks, Lalit. So the next question is from Michelle. She's asking, more and more CPG brands are seriously focusing on digital transformation of their supply chain. How well prepared do you think they are to handle the second wave of the pandemic? This is for Raghu.
Okay. So digital transformation in the second wave of coronavirus. I think the companies are probably better prepared right now because they know the challenges, and companies have seen other companies pioneering what can be done. But I think from a solution perspective, I don't think the solutions will drastically change. I think the solutions are existing. It's more about adoption. And what I think is the biggest thing that can happen in companies is that this digital transformation is moving more. The ownership of it is moving um, more upwards towards the C level executives. So I think in a lot of cases we see that the CEOs own the implementation of digital transformation rather than executive, which completely changes the velocity at which this is implemented. So when this is becoming a board priority for companies, right, and it is impacting top line, bottom line, I think the COVID second wave will move it further up and put further pressure on the CXO orgs to do it faster than ever. I think that's what I would kind of see it as as the change. But solutions would remain the same.
Very interesting. I mean, so there was that meme going on, which is saying that the biggest transformation agent is COVID, kind of a story. I think that's I think what you are going to. So it's not the CTO or a CDO who's transforming the digital transformation. It's COVID who's driving the digital transformation in general. Yeah.
Great.
Over to
I
you,
guess
Raghu.
that's like last question. All right, guys, this is the end of us like webinar. Thank you again to everyone who has joined us today and for making this event a success. We look forward to you joining us for the upcoming webinars as well and for the Digital Intelligence Masterclass series. Raghu and Lalit, thank you so much for joining us and like telling us so much about Yellow Messenger and Bizom. It was a pleasure to know more about Yellow Messenger. Raghu, thank you again.
Thank
Guys,
you.
Thank
we
you.
have a LinkedIn page. Please connect with us on LinkedIn to stay updated. If you are looking for like FMCG sector bites or anything, you can like follow us on LinkedIn. We'll share the link in the chat as well. We wish you all a very nice evening. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Raghu. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for
Hey,
joining. It was
lots
a
of
lot of
fun.
fun.
Thanks a lot, Lalit.
Cheers.
Thanks for having
Take
me.
care.
See you. Bye.